We have, over the last 2 or 3 weeks, put together a series of webinars in order to assist with both agents, group leaders, prospective students, a series of decision-making stages when sending students or attending the UK to study English. Capital School of English has been in operation now for 12 years, and we are incredibly successful as a school in educating and taking care of individual students as well as a number of groups. And in the next couple of weeks I will be visiting Italy specifically to speak to partners and to teacher group leaders regarding their groups that will be coming hopefully in the autumn this year. So this first presentation is all about Bournemouth, and it is surprising that there are a number of people out there that are still unfamiliar with where Bournemouth is. Bournemouth is second only to London as a destination for international student education. It is the home of the English language, which I will talk about later. But Bournemouth for nearly 120 years has hosted international students and specifically teaching students the English language. As you can see on the map, we have the enviable position of being on the coast, and so we are a seaside, traditional seaside resort, coastal resort based in Bournemouth with local conurbations of Christchurch and Poole on our doorstep, and actually the gateway to the Jurassic Coast. Very close to Southampton, which many of you will be familiar with. The distance is approximately 25 minutes, 30 minutes by car. And very importantly, the main import airport, which is Heathrow, is approximately 2 hours transfer from London to Bournemouth. So in a very, very good location, very good position geographically. Others that you will see there, Gatwick, again, an extra half an hour, so approximately 2.5 hours transfer time from Gatwick Airport down to Bournemouth on the south coast. Other but maybe less well-known airports that service the south, there is an airport at Bristol, a very popular city, and of course Exeter in the southwest. As you see in front of you, I've just clicked 2 or 3 of the very low or budget airlines that service Bournemouth, Southampton, Bristol, Gatwick and Heathrow: Flybe, EasyJet and Ryanair. So for students often travelling in from Europe, there are some excellent connections into us here in Bournemouth. The newest airline, Flybe, some of you will be aware, and some may not be aware, that Flybe, based in Southampton, have just also extended their provision to Bournemouth, which is an exciting proposition for us as a school and as a location, making ease of transfer and ease of travel for students coming into the town. So they are our airports, they are our geographical locations within the UK. And as you see there, it's just a 2-hour transfer into central London. The next slide that we're moving on to, which is very important, is what makes Bournemouth such a special destination for international students. Very important, we are a cosmopolitan town. We are not a city because we do not have a cathedral, but we're a very, very large town. So a cosmopolitan, vibrant atmosphere, incredibly multicultural. As the language has been taught here for over 100 years, the local community are used to having international students in and around the town all year round. So we are not just a seasonal destination, we are a complete year-round provider. As I mentioned, it's very vibrant, so lots of things going on in and around the town, but very importantly, it's not that city feel. It's a much more relaxed feel, and our students often comment on how they feel relaxed and at home is an expression that they often use when describing their stay in Bournemouth. The little word in the middle that's just popped up, safe, and that's at the forefront of our minds as educators, but also as a town. I'm very fortunate to sit as chair of all of the local language schools here in the local area, and one thing that we discuss often is safety and the welfare of our students coming into Bournemouth. But I must say that Bournemouth, in all the years that I've been working in the area, has a very, very safe feel, and a lot of it is to do with the fact that local people know that there are a number of international students in the town. I've just flicked up a little piece of important and very exciting information in front of you, and the fact that we now have a Premiership football team. So we're very, very happy with the news that Bournemouth, or AFC Bournemouth I should call them, have successfully been promoted to the top table of football, let's say globally. So again, really putting Bournemouth on the global map. And already the town is receiving a lot of investment, a lot of interest on the basis that the football team now will be playing the likes of Manchester United, Chelsea and Arsenal. So incredibly excited about that proposition, and hopefully we'll see lots of AFC Bournemouth football shirts being bought and worn globally, and again underlining the importance of the town. So incredibly happy to announce that news. And quite an important point is often that students are budget minded, budget sensitive, especially coming on short courses as well as long-term courses. People are concerned about money and how much things cost here in the UK. We are on the south coast and we are in a very affluent area of the country, but we are statistically cheaper than many other cities, and very importantly cheaper than many other EFL or English language hubs around the UK. And when I talk about cost, it's cost of living, cost of programs, and very importantly cost of social activities and trips that we run as schools here in the UK. So a very important point, and something that can be stressed confidently to students or to parents willing to send their children or their siblings or whoever it may be, family members, to the UK to study. So moving on now to probably a very iconic picture in the fact that we boast 11 kilometres of award-winning beaches. We are one of the sunniest places in the UK, and believe it or not, we do have sunshine in the UK even this time of the year. But we have a very special climate. We have a microclimate, so we are generally 4 to 5 degrees warmer than most other parts of the country, and that is year round. Being coastal, we don't tend to see a lot of snow in the winter, and generally from April through to October we have very, very pleasant weather, and students often will comment on the fact that it's beautiful all year round, and that's very important to know when marketing and promoting the destination. As it says there, year-round destination. We are not just a July, August, September provider. The town hosts students throughout the year on various programs, because we also do have, as I'll mention later, a couple of very important universities. Other areas of interest in close to Bournemouth, we are definitely a gateway to the Jurassic Coast, Stonehenge, Oxford, Bath, the New Forest, and obviously very importantly for a lot of students, the opportunity to travel to our capital, which is London. But I'd just like to point out at this stage that the main areas of interest locally, the Jurassic Coast, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, is a popular destination for our students to visit because it is something completely unique that you will not see in any other part of the United Kingdom. And equally we have the world famous Stonehenge, which for many students is something that they learn about and they understand from history in their own countries, and it's well worth a visit and again not far from Bournemouth, only about a 40-minute journey. The New Forest, again on our doorstep, 20-25 minutes away from the town. You'll be in some of the most beautiful countryside that the UK has to offer. And then the three main city destinations within easy reach of Bournemouth. The iconic Oxford, obviously hosting Oxford University, synonymous with Harry Potter, still with a lot of students saying I would like to visit Oxford University, nothing to do with the university but to do with Harry Potter. But Oxford University, again, a day trip, usually on offer in most programs that we run, especially for mini-stay groups, where they have the opportunity to visit this iconic global city and university city. Bottom right-hand corner, the picture there that outlines the Roman Baths. Again, a very significant city within UK history or British history. And again, a beautiful drive from Bournemouth over to Bath, approximately an hour and a half away. But again, part of a lot of the programs that we offer to our students year round and also to our groups program. And of course, the unforgettable and as you can see there, the quite iconic Tower of London, Tower Bridge, I should say. And again, London is a very popular day or weekend retreat for a number of students that may not have chosen to study in London and purposely come to the south, but know that London is only a short trip away, either by train, National Express, or on one of the many tours that we or the town offer to students. So they are 6 places of a number of places that we offer as a school, as a town, as a destination to get away to and to go and explore. And we often encourage our students to go and visit the rest of the country. You know, Bournemouth has many things to offer, but the country as a whole has an awful lot to offer too. So they're the places of interest. Closer to home, Bournemouth has a number of important festivals. We have a very important festival coming up in the next 3 or 4 weeks towards the end of May, and that's the Wheels Festival, and that's an activity free. It's in its 3rd year now, and it's all based around cars and motorbikes and many different things, and that usually has between 50 and 100,000 visitors over the duration of the weekend that it's on. Of course, Bournemouth and like many towns has a food and drink festival. The food is good in the UK, despite what people may think, and going back to my original point of being a very cosmopolitan town, we have some fantastic places to eat and to dine, and again, closer to the school, a lot of our host families and our accommodation providers provide a good standard and a good quality of food. And the last one, and probably the most significant, is the internationally renowned air show, or air festival as some people call it, attracting over 1 million visitors, and that's towards the end of August, towards the end of summer, where it is now the world's biggest, or world's biggest free air festival. The beach is absolutely packed, the town is packed of visitors, our students absolutely love it. It's 4 days of high octane flying. We have the world famous Red Arrow show, the Vulcan, the Typhoon. We have a number of exhibitors, and this is an incredible show that is just simply not missed. That's locally and also by the international students that visit the town. I can't finish this presentation without talking about Bournemouth being the home of the English language, and the home, very importantly, of the learning of the English language. Lots of very famous and substantial authors have written about, or were locally born, or were brought up in the Dorset, Hampshire area. So we have J.R. Tolkien, we have Thomas Hardy, and of course Mary Shelley. In the town we have Mary Shelley's grave, and of course synonymous with being the author of Frankenstein. Also, as I mentioned at the beginning of the webinar, we have 2 very significant universities in the town. The first being Bournemouth University, And a very important area of the town now is the Arts University Bournemouth. And the Arts University Bournemouth is actually our second centre that we use as a school here at Capital throughout the months of July and August. But the universities are significant in the fact that they are often a pathway for our older students to go on for career advice or actually take up undergraduate or graduate or postgraduate positions in the university. Particularly strong within the area of tourism, given the fact that we're in a stunning location on the south coast, but they have a number of very, very good undergraduate and graduate courses. So there's something for everyone. So if it's a student coming in for their first ever 2-week or 3-week program into the UK to study English as a young learner, they're getting the exposure to what life is really like in the UK, and very importantly, the opportunities available to students coming into the UK. And so the universities play a significant role in the whole international education feel within the town of Bournemouth. As it says there, we have 22,000 university students, and these 22,000 university students are not just British students, they are made up of an international group, and this makes again the town such a vibrant place to be, and the opportunity for students to meet British students who are like-minded is very important. So it gives you a feel that we're not just a coastal resort teaching English, we have many other educational benefits to coming to the south coast. Very importantly, and the picture in front of you, the language students that attend the town. I mentioned right at the beginning of the webinar how popular it is. You will see that over 30,000 language students attend schools and programs provided here in Bournemouth. It's a significant amount of students that the town hosts over the course of a year. So hopefully that is proof that the town is doing something right, that it's a magnet for students to come to. And going back to the point about it being safe, cosmopolitan and vibrant, proof there in the numbers that wish to choose to take their courses here in the UK. 30,000 don't come to Capital, and that's across the broad spectrum of programs, schools and colleges that run here in Bournemouth throughout the year. The picture on the right hand side, the group picture, if you can see it, that was taken a couple of summers ago at the Arts University in Bournemouth with a group of our older learners on programs there. So as you can see, plenty going on and lots happening in the town. That's almost the end of the webinar. They're very short, they're very to the point, and open to a lot of people who are not so familiar with Bournemouth. There are a number of people that will be watching this webinar or hearing what I'm saying and saying, well, we know Bournemouth, it's a great destination, we're already sending students there, but for a number of people, Bournemouth still would be a new destination. So this is why we wanted to start the webinar series with a brief overview of what Bournemouth can have and what Bournemouth has to offer you, your clients, people coming over with students, and to get a feel of exactly what is on offer. I hope you've enjoyed this very brief webinar, and if you require any further information specifically about this webinar, then please do contact us. The contact details are on the slide in front of you. The email address info@capitalschool.co.uk, and please do look at further information on our fairly comprehensive website, which gives greater detail about programs and offerings that we have here specifically at the school. Before I leave and before I sign off for the evening, please join us next week. So it's the same time next Thursday, 5 p.m. UK time. So Thursday the 21st of May, 5 p.m. UK time, where our next webinar will feature on the group leader experience. So this is the second of our series of webinars. So if you have clients or you have teachers or groups that come regularly to the UK or are thinking of coming to the UK to study, to bring their groups, then please do sign up for the next Group Leader Experience webinar. The webinar that we are running and the webinars that we will run in the future will all be available through our website, and please do get in contact with us if you have any questions. So enough from me. Thank you very much for listening to this webinar. I hope you found it interesting, and looking forward to speaking to you and to presenting next week with webinar 2. So thank you very much. Bye-bye.